Hey y'all, I'm Anna and welcome back to my channel. Today I am so excited to share with you 3 pies that you can make for Thanksgiving. Today's video is part of an open collaboration and it's with my friend Valerie. Her channel is called The Harget Life. I'll have her channel and the playlist linked below. We're gonna start off with my all-time favorite pie in the world, which is pecan pie. The first thing you need to do is get your oven preheated to 350. To a 9-inch pie crust, we're gonna add 1 1/4 cups of chopped pecans. In a separate bowl, I'm gonna start off with a cup of light corn syrup, and then Katie Jane is gonna help me add some brown sugar and granulated sugar. I'll have all of the measurements written below for you in the description box. Next, we're gonna add in 3 eggs and a splash of vanilla. One and a half tablespoons of cornstarch. And I'm trying to teach her how to use one hand to keep the bowl steady while she mixes with the other hand. I think that's so cute. Next, we're going to add in a little bit of salt, half a teaspoon. And finally, we're going to add in some melted butter. Make sure that when you add that in, your butter is slightly cooled, because if you add it in straight from the microwave and it's piping hot, it will scramble your eggs. After that, just pour that on top of your pecans and stir it around really well just to make sure there's no air bubbles down in there. And now we're just going to cover this gently with some aluminum foil and bake it at 350 for 30 minutes. And after 30 minutes, we'll take off the foil and bake it for another 25 to 30 minutes. Now make sure that you let this cool completely before you serve it. I always let mine sit on the counter for about 2 hours after it comes out of the oven. Then I cover it up and just pop it in the fridge overnight. Y'all, I cannot explain to you how good this pie is. It is delicious and everyone in my family loves it. Up next is a classic pumpkin pie. You cannot go wrong with this one. You'll start off with a 15-ounce can of pure pumpkin puree. You also need a can of evaporated milk, half a cup of granulated sugar, and a 1/4 cup of brown sugar, a 1/4 teaspoon of salt, and a big tablespoon of pumpkin pie spice. After that, add in a good splash of vanilla and 2 eggs. Stir all of those ingredients together and then pour it in an unbaked 9-inch pie crust. You're gonna bake this at 425 for 15 minutes. And after 15 minutes, reduce the oven temperature to 350 and bake for another 50 to 55 minutes. Let it cool for about 30 minutes on a wire rack when it comes out, and then pop it in the fridge for a few hours to cool completely. If you're looking for the easiest but most delicious pumpkin pie, this is the recipe for you. I really think that you and your family will love it. We always top ours off with some homemade whipped cream, and then I do a little sprinkling of pumpkin pie spice just to make it look really pretty. And it was so delicious. If you plan on making this, let me know. And our last pie for today's video is a homemade apple pie. You'll start off with 6 apples of your choice. I like to use Golden Delicious or Gala. To that, add 3/4 of a cup of sugar and 2 tablespoons of flour. You'll also need 1 teaspoon of cinnamon and about 1/8 of a teaspoon of ground nutmeg. Add in a little pinch of salt, maybe 1/4 of a teaspoon, and then just mix all of this together with your clean hands. And now we'll just pour this mixture into our pie crust. This pie crust is not baked. Once the apples are all in the pie crust, you'll take a top crust. I always like to get the Pillsbury kind that you unroll. You just put it right over the top and fold it under, and then crimp the edges with your fingers. Once that looks nice and pretty, take a paring knife and make a few slits on the top. And in a little bowl, I have 1 egg, and I'm gonna put a splash of cream in there. If you don't have cream, you could use milk or water. Stir it together with a fork, and this is your egg wash. Using a pastry brush, just brush the egg wash all over the top of the crust, and then after that, take about a tablespoon of sugar and a 1/4 teaspoon of cinnamon, stir it together with your fingers, and sprinkle that all over the top. This needs to bake at 425 for about an hour, but make sure you check on it every once in a while to make sure it's not getting too dark on top. I always end up having to cover mine with some aluminum foil so it doesn't burn, and that's usually around the 25 to 30 minute mark. All right, y'all, this came out of the oven about an hour ago, and you really should wait about 2 hours before you actually cut into it because you don't want it to fall apart. However, it's still gonna taste the same. So I am home alone right now. My husband and kids are at the store. So it's quiet and this smells so good and I'm hungry. So you know what I'm about to do. I'm going to cut me just a small little bite. I just have to taste it. It looks so good. And I'm taking this to my sister's house tonight. Today is actually Halloween, so I'm taking this over to her house for our dessert, and I'm sure they won't mind if I have a little tiny taste. So let me get my knife and cut me a little piece. Now this is not going to stay together perfectly because like I said, it's only been sitting out here for like maybe an hour. So it's still pretty hot, but it is not going to affect the taste. It's gonna be so good. All right, so you see that it did not stay together. That's fine. It's still really warm. You can see the steam coming up. And it's funny because the bottom crust is actually still right in there, but I will scoop it out in just a minute. All right, I'm about to go devour this thing. I cannot wait. All right, y'all, I've been eating this and I just have to come back and tell you how good it is. The apples cooked down perfectly. You can see that they stayed together. They're not mush, but they are very soft. And that's exactly how I like them in my apple pie. And you just cannot buy a store-bought apple pie this good. I promise you that. Please try this recipe. I hope that you enjoyed all of these pies. I'm just gonna go ahead and close out the video now. Thank you so much for watching. I hope that you got some inspiration. It's always hard for me to choose what pie to make on Thanksgiving because, I mean, I can't eat 3 different pies, but that's why I'm glad I do my videos because I get to enjoy all of the Thanksgiving food, like starting a month before Thanksgiving. So thank you again so much for watching and stay tuned because I will be back very soon with more videos. Bye.